Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Breaking Butterfly podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I have a very special announcement. I have a brand new free training for you guys, and this one might as well be a full-ass program, I'm telling you. If you're an online coach or service provider and you haven't yet hit those 10K months, this training is going to be for you. After hitting 10 to 30K months consistently for over 3 years now, I have learned a few things. And there's really 3 reasons that you haven't yet hit that 10K month. Obviously, I am all about confidence. This podcast is all about confidence. And when it comes to your business, it's still all about your confidence. If you are creating from your head, you're not in your heart, you're overthinking, you're in self-doubt, you're not in your full power and your full iconicness, this is going to be an issue in your business, and you're not going to sign the clients that you want. You're not going to attract the people, have the launches, get the engagement that you want, because who would want to watch you when you don't even believe in yourself? Who would want to work with you when you are overthinking every single thing that you do? So this training is going to be hitting on confidence and my 4-part unique formula for building confidence. The second reason you haven't yet hit your 10K month is because your offer and your content is bland. It's not fully authentic. It's blending in with all of the white noise on social media, and you're not actually creating things that connect with people and things that people actually want. So essentially, and this is still a part of that confidence aspect, you need to learn what makes you stand out and use it and show up in your full power and show up with the specificity and the spice in your content and in your offerings. So it's not just this, broad, bland thing that is kind of regurgitated and we've seen a million times. You have to find that authenticity and create an irresistible offer and content that people actually want to read. And the third reason that you are not making 10K months is because you don't have an actual strategy for generating clients. You have no real rhyme or reason to what you are doing. And essentially, you need a foolproof strategy that is going to generate guaranteed consistent clients every single month. A guaranteed way of getting audience members on calls with you to talk about your offers, to help them, and to essentially get them into an offering of yours if it is aligned. So if you don't have a strategy and you're just posting and you're hoping that someone's going to DM you, hoping that someone's going to book a discovery call with you just out of the blue, this is not the vibe. You need an actual strategy, a heart-centered strategy. And this is what I'm going to be teaching you in this training. I'm going to give you my strategy for free. I'm going to teach you about the confidence, the irresistible offers and content, and then how to actually get potential clients on calls. And once you master these 3 things, your business is truly going to make a complete 180, I promise you. So if you want to join this training, again, it's absolutely free. It's going to be happening June 27th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. But if you're listening to this after that date, do not stress, do not worry. There's going to be a replay. There's always a replay with me. I want you guys to get all of this content. You get to keep it. And I'm super excited to see you guys there. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and the link will be in the show notes. Okay, now let's get into today's episode. Hello, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. You guys, I have the most epic guest today. I am so excited. It's actually really funny how this came about, because this is one of my favorite producers, DJs. If you've been to one of my sets, if you've seen me DJ, you've heard one of his tracks 100%. You've probably heard his tracks anyway, because we'll get into his success and the virality of what he's created. But I've been such a huge fan. And then I started following him on Instagram, you guys, and I realized, whoa, okay, how cool that, I obviously love his music, but he actually shares a lot of the same values and philosophies that I have around creating, around building an audience, around taking action and confidence and all these different pieces. So we connected, and I'm really, really excited to introduce him to you guys. So I'll let him share a little bit about himself as well, but just to give you guys a little inside scoop, his name is FETISH. and he was the largest artist on Instagram Reels in 2023. I actually didn't know this. The most of any artist globally, including Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Justin Bieber. I believe that track got like 11 million
Yeah.
like uses on Instagram, probably more now. Um, so he's landed on the Billboard Dance and Electronic charts for another monstrous record, Trench. But most importantly, he's an artist known for constantly pushing boundaries while also remaining authentic to himself. And through his music, Fetish proves that pushing beyond the comfort zone and staying true to free expression is a path to building a genuine community of fans and creatives alike. And so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Say hello.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me on. That's a really awesome intro, and I appreciate so much that you've been listening and vibing with the records, and that means a lot. So it's all, all the better that you found the Instagram and saw some of the messages that you liked and felt like it was resonating with you. And I'm just trying to put stuff out that's helpful and that's useful to other creatives and people that are hearing it make something authentic. So it's I'm glad it came off that way. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so fun too. I think that some people when they start building their brand, it's they lose the fun because they, what have whatever goals that they're trying to reach and that sometimes makes it not fun, but I feel like you do such a great job at yeah, just obviously we'll dive into it all and some of the things that you've posted that I want to talk about. But yeah, you just keep it so fun and the pink hair, like you're just so on brand for Breaking Butterfly. Like
Yeah, I love
hello.
that. I love it. We got the pink family, is here, which is great. Yeah, well, I'm glad it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Like this whole thing is supposed to be fun. Building a
Yep.
business or a creative project or whatever job you're at, it's all supposed to be fun. We're here for such a short time, and it's like I go to immediately an existential place. It's like we're here on Earth for such a short time. It's supposed to be fun, like so. Whatever I
Yeah.
can do to try to give that impression through my content or through my music or how I am at the shows. I try to do that as much as I can.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah.
So, can you give us like a little bit of you can make it brief or long, like kind of this story from starting with music till where you are now. Obviously, I'll have some questions like within the story,
Yeah.
but I really want to hear like what that experience was really like for you. Was it always fun? Have there been moments that were not fun?
Yeah.
Have there been moments, where you did struggle with your confidence? Or I kind of want to hear all the little ups and downs that got you to like this moment right
For
now.
sure. Yeah. No, I love that. I think, yeah, no, there were definitely moments of like doubt and grief and knocking your head against the computer because it's not working. And, all of that is par for the course, I think, when you're learning any new skill, but it's definitely part of the creative course. At least it was for my experience. It's hard to say where getting started in music really happened. I always just had like just an instant connection and passion with dance music from the time I was a really, young kid at 10 years old listening to dance songs. I loved them and
What
really
were your like
escalated.
your first favorites? Like what's like the first like EDM song you can remember being obsessed with?
Oh man, so for me, Daft Punk was really early. Like Daft Punk and Dead Mouse were two guys I was listening to when I was pretty young, and I was like, okay, this is different, and what is this? And sort of getting me involved with the sounds of electronic music were probably the earliest. Um, yeah, and it sort of escalated. I think once I was in like high school and got a little older, obviously Skrillex happened and the whole wave and push in like the early, I don't even know what year that was, like, 2010 or 11 or 12 and in that area. And I just was like blown away by it and became the biggest house head and dance music fan and dubstep lover. And I fell in deep. So it's really just been like a progressive, it depends what you mean by starting in music. I didn't start taking it seriously till much later, until after college when I went to music school. But in terms of developing like a love and an ear and a passion for it, it's been like my whole life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you go to a lot of like festivals and raves? Like were you like in the crowd in it?
Oh yeah. 100%. Little raver kid, festival kid for sure, house head, dancing at every show. And, I went to a ton of, even before it was like all about electronic music for me, I was going to concerts from the time I was a really little kid. I had parents who loved music, took me to shows really early. And I just really like, the live part was always so much fun. And that just carried through. And once I started going to dance shows, I think it was like EDC, God, I don't even know what year, 2014 maybe was the first EDC. And once I went there, I was like, oh, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. And how do I, how do I be part of this? Cause it's just so awesome, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, I was definitely
No,
that little raver kid.
100%. And I think so, but the transition, right? So it's like there's so many people that are in that place. They're so passionate about something. They love it so much. Like it's just a part of them, it's everything.
Yeah.
What was that transition like for you? Actually being like, okay, I'm going to be a part of this. Like I'm going to music school. Also, I'm curious like what school you went to and what that was like and everything. But I think that transition into being like in the experience to saying, I'm going to create this is such a huge step. Like, was it easy for you to make that choice? Or were you like,
Yeah.
can I actually do this?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard to say. It feels like just like different building blocks of my life sort of got me to that place. It wasn't really one big crazy moment where I was like, oh, now I know I have to go do this. It was sort of like there was a bit of that when I went to my first DDC because I was like, okay, this is like totally different than any other place I've ever seen. There's so much authenticity and self-expression and color and beauty here, that I'm not seeing in other parts of the world. And that was so that definitely was like there are flagpole moments that do shape that. But so I tried to make music really bad for like a few years. I was just messing around with DAWs on my own. I couldn't ever really learn anything. I was just playing with it. That happened for years and years and years. And finally, when I was getting out of college for something totally unrelated, I, was sort of like, okay, I've been making music this whole time, but I've been terrible at it. Do I want to be serious about that? What am I going to do with my time getting out of school here? And I just decided, just like, oh, it's got to be music. It's been that the whole time. And so that's that. After I graduated college, I went to Icon Collective in 2017 or 2018. I was there, and I did that for a year, and that's where I sort of started taking it seriously. And since then, it's just been writing more.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. I resonate with that a lot. I know you were asking like before we started recording kind of how I got into what I'm doing now.
yeah,
I have such a similar situation where so I actually grew up like very Mormon and very like the epitome of inauthentic,
yeah,
like being the exact person that I wasn't because I had to like fit into these rules in this box and I was also in Utah, so like my whole community was Mormon
yeah.
and yeah, obviously like started not sitting well with me. And I watched like a movie, I think it's called like XOXO or something. It's like a Sarah Hyland cheesy Netflix movie about raving.
Right, right.
And I was like, oh my God, I have
That's
to be a part of this.
yeah, yeah,
So I went to my first rave and it was very similar to your EDC like experience where yeah, there I never had this big moment of like, okay, I'm actually gonna like be a part of this. I was just like, how do I do it? Like how do I become a part of this? Because I just know I'm meant to.
yeah,
And I think after my first rave, I was so broke. I bought like a used small little like DJ controller. And yeah, I would just like sit on my floor, in this
yeah,
little room that I rented, trying to figure out how to DJ. I was so horrible at it.
yeah,
But it was an immediate thing, right? Like when you find that place where you feel authentic and you feel yourself and it just clicks,
yeah.
it's just like natural.
No, it's the
Uh,
best. I mean, this is a repeating story you hear from people a lot. It's like they come from a background where they were in some way not able to be themselves, or a place where they, even if they were, they just had notions and different things in their life that didn't let them like find that thing that they really felt passionate about and fall in love with. And so many people I know, it was dance music or a festival or some experience or event that they went to that was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
yeah.
This is that thing. I was in the same boat. I didn't have the greatest childhood, for not as you said, for religious reasons, but I had other stuff going on in my childhood that made it very like restrained, constricted, unstable. And finding that artist path, just the discovery that you are an artist and this is the thing you're supposed to be doing is something creative, is like that's night and day difference between the people, the person you are before that discovery of self discovery and the path you walk to get to that self discovery, and then finding out, oh, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's sort of at the heart of the fetish project for me. That walk of having been the person that was like constrained, tied up for whatever reasons. There's a million different ways your life can be like that, especially in the early years. And as you age out of it and grow out of it. Hopefully you do, and find that thing that turns into your passion. When I found that at EDC, and even just as a general place in the dance music community, that place was like, oh, this is what I have to capture for Fetish. It's the whole reason behind the name. The name is immediately can be off-putting or a little gross or a little out there, and that's the part that's beautiful. It's the acknowledgement of that taboo and weird side that was never able to be there, and now it's here, and it's beautiful, and there's full of color and authenticity and expression, and all the things that was so inherent with dance music when I first found it. I put right at the center of Fetish for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that so much. I it shows in your music. Your music is so different and so authentic. It actually kind of makes me mad because like I can't find anyone else that sounds like you and I'm not really producing myself yet. And so
Yeah.
I'm like I'm going to just turn into like your mini me. Like I can't just keep playing your songs over and over. Like can someone else,
Yeah,
like make
I love that.
whatever,
I love it so much. First of all, play them as much as you want. You can totally be the mini me. It doesn't matter. It's
right?
all. I love that so much. I really appreciate hearing it. I mean, the number one thing I want is to have my own feeling, and
Yeah.
it's not even tied to like my own specific sound or like
It's just so
that.
unique.
I just want it means so much to me to hear that. It really does. It's as long as it gives me that internal feeling of like I close my eyes, I'm back there at EDC,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, like is this getting me just feeling it right here, even if it's at my own desk, if it's doing that, I put out the music. So if it's giving you that feeling and it's unique, that means everything.
And that like I think so many people are missing that because they're trying to find what's going to go viral, what's going to hit, like what are people going to like, what are other people doing, and can I do something like that?
Yeah.
And what's so interesting is you did something that no one else is doing, I feel like, and you still went more viral than every motherfucker out there just doing what you and you made
Yeah.
that whole video about it. I think it's pinned on your page right now where you're like we're just talking about come check this and you're like I put this out because of the feeling it gave me, no other reason, right? Like you didn't know it was going to go viral. And
Of course not.
what was that experience like when it did start going viral? Like were you just like in your room like what the fuck is going on? Like what was that like?
It's honestly, again, it's one of these things that's like, it's so crazy how it's unfolded. And there's been multiple moments that are like that. There's like these flagship moments. But the weird thing about, you know, I'm sure there's people who go viral and have different experiences. So again, all I can speak to what it felt like for me. The first time it happened, it was like, okay, I could see something's happening with the song because it's getting a bunch of plays, and there's like a TikTok dance happening for it right now. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, what is going on? This song is a dance. There's people doing the dance online. That's amazing. But the weird thing is that it goes in waves, and it like totally came and went. And this whole moment came and happened, and it just sort of fell off. And then it had this thing. I was like, okay, that's cool. It's awesome. I'm so glad people got to hear it. And then it came back and happened on Instagram, and it did like 1,000 times more, and it was in
Yeah.
like all these influencer pages and celebrity pages. And it's just like, it's been that way ever since. It comes and it goes through waves, and it hits again and then it doesn't. And it's a really, I think, kind of a unique record for how that's sort of happened with that song. Back to what you were saying initially is like, I think that is the secret to finding a viral moment and it's such a like, it's almost a demeaning way to even call it that. It's more like, how can you create the most special, unique connection, in that moment with your song? And I think the reason that happened is because, like I said, I just try to make music that I really fuck with, like I sit
Yeah.
here, close my eyes, feel it at my desk, absolutely dancing to it and feeling it on my own as if there's nothing else in the world that matters. And like that state of flow and that creation moment, if I like it and put it out, there's got to be someone else. My thinking is that I'm surely there's someone else who feels that way. And if not, the truth is it's not really for them. I'm making this for me. And I've been fortunate in that the records that I've had go off connected with people in the way that I felt them when I was making them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I love what you said about like there's got to be someone, you know? And everyone that's like listening to this podcast, some of them I think are in music, some are in completely different industries and I think it stands for every industry.
Yeah.
If you really are creating something that you think is fucking awesome, someone else is going to think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like there's 8
That's
billion
the
people in
beauty.
the world.
Yeah.
Now, and then but then you have to talk about okay, how do you find those people? And
Yeah.
that can be a journey and that can be an experience of finding your people. But I do think trusting that they're out there is like a huge part of where you gain like that power and that confidence and also just like peace in creating. I think a lot of people get like stressed and overwhelmed when it comes to content creation or whatever type of creation, and it's because yeah, it's just they're not trusting that.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear. It can be a scary thing to put yourself in front of other people, either whether you're making art or you're in a creative space or you're doing something that's not really in a traditionally creative field. It's hard to, that so many projects that I mean, I've done a lot of tutoring, I've done a lot of, teaching, and the thing that I see and I think that stops most people is fear. They're thinking about how they are going to be perceived in their, to their either their peers or their coworkers or to an audience that they're trying to provide for. And if you can always come back to the home, the self-realization of like, I'm making this for me, it's supposed to be fun, you sort of let go of the fear, and I try as much as I can to use my content and my songs and my pages to just, you know, to use it as like ground zero example of what happens if you just let go and put it out into the world. You never know what's going to happen. I had no clue that the songs I've had go viral would go viral. And some of the songs that I thought I loved more than anything were the ones I made totally skipped by and no one fucked with those. But they're still some of my favorites,
Yeah.
and the ones that I was never sure of did. And it's like, you got to let go of all that fear and all the resentment or all the judgment and just be exactly what you are to the most of your ability, because that's what's going to resonate. And it's how you stay the most lighthearted and the most fun in the process, because you're not wearing a mask. Funny enough, again, my project, I make use of mask at my shows, and I put the bunny mask on and I bring them out for people. And it's like, it's the acknowledgement of this other side that everyone is wearing these masks at different times, and it's acknowledgement of that taboo. And the release of that is, I think, a part what really drew me to making music and what still drives me, every day for Fetish. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I love all of that. I was just thinking like, yeah, so part of your intro, that I kind of shared, was you were talking about like, yeah, staying true to that free expression is what builds that genuine community. And just like as you were sharing all of that, I was just thinking, and I feel like that is what is going to be sustainable and what's going to stick. Um, is someone that's like coming straight from their heart, because there's a lot of people that are going to get those viral hits, and there's a lot of like people who are like one hit wonders, and it's because you know they're not creating a sustainable community. They're not creating like a struggling to find the words, but yeah, like genuine, like raving loyal fans that are there and like feel the vibe and feel the energy. They are just like looking for their 15 minutes. They're looking for like their quick hit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so special about it is like, you could just create what other people like and you might get more engagement. You might get more likes. It might work. There's so many people that are like, do this trend and you're going to go viral, and do this trend. It might go viral,
Yeah.
but then you probably won't go viral again, or you probably will kind of self-sabotage or lose that, because it's just not. I think stability and sustainability is like comes from that genuine
No,
place.
it's so true. And I think there's a question about sustainability, and like you said, the fast, 15 minutes of fame, that's a thing. And I think that, there's, it's just for me, it really goes down to this sort of like esoteric question. It's like, how closely do you want to track the truth, the truth of what you are, the truth of what you want your project to be, or what your fans are going to be, and what you see that are your true vision for what you're building. And if you're doing that, I've always, when I look at myself and my own experience, that part of the projects and the artists I've always really respected were the guys that were doing it for like 30 years, and they had these crazy long discographies with hundreds and hundreds of records, and it's like,
Yeah,
I never connected as much with the artist that had one big song. It
yeah,
just wasn't. It never felt the same, because there's so much that could happen for just get that lucky moment or something like that. And I think I was worried about that for my own project. When Come Check This went off, I was like, oh shit, is this going to be that one thing that's like, okay, this is that one moment I'm going to have, and I got really lucky here, and the rest hasn't lived up to it. And honestly, a lot of that has just faded away, because not just because I've had other songs that have had moments, but because I know my inherent core value, the core value structure behind my project is how many cool songs can I share and put into the world. It's not the metric of how viral can one go. Is it the, how many streams can I get on one song, or can I be the absolute best at this one thing? It's never been that. It comes back to the home of, I want to contribute something that like I can really be proud of and fuck with, and songs that I really love. And my favorite metric that I have is that I have 60 songs on Spotify. And it's like, compared to some of the biggest projects, that's like not that much, that's like, I'm just getting started, which is exciting to me. But compared to a lot of projects in the last few years, they have like 2 songs and they both went super viral and big. And that's what made them go off. And it's like, I'm not hating on anyone for having a different road into the industry. That happens. And you can have projects that just get off kicking and they just happen to have all the pieces in place that had it right early. But the thing I'm most proud of is having a ton of material
Yeah,
and really contributing as much as I can on a consistent basis to the space. So that's what I want to keep doing, is just making a ton of stuff.
totally. Well,
Yeah,
my motto I feel like is quantity makes quality.
for sure.
Quantity makes quality, right? And so many people are like, yeah, focus on just the quality that they never put anything out. But I remember reading about this study that they did with like photography students,
Yeah,
and half of the class, or maybe it was like two different classes, right? One class was told your semester project is to submit 100 photos. You have to take 100 photos.
yeah,
And then the other class was to just do one perfect photo. Like that's your semester project. You're just going to enter in one photo.
yeah,
And they said that the students that did the one photo, all the photos were just like not even close to being as good
yeah,
as multiples and multiples of the other class.
yeah,
Just had incredible photos, like, 50 of them,
yeah,
incredible photos that were better than the one. And, I feel like I have a lot of friends in the music scene, even people like really close to me that are creating and like producing really, really awesome stuff.
yeah,
Haven't really put anything out yet.
yeah,
And it just like frustrates me. I'm someone who likes to be a little messy. I like to take action and just like put it out there. If it has a typo, fuck it. If it's not perfect, fuck it. I just put it out.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I wish that I could like get to some of these artists and just be like, just do
yeah,
it. So I hope that like your story
yeah.
inspires them, and I'm going to send them this link. Like,
Yeah, no, please do. I love that. I hope it's helpful to them. And that's seriously, that's like one of the core messages of my project. Is just like, there's a statistic. I forget exactly what it is, but it's something like the top NBA scorers. Like it's like all the highest NBA scorers have not only the most points, but the most shots missed. They have more shots missed than anyone else playing the game.
yep,
And that says it all right there. It's like you never know which one's going to go off. You have to take every single chance you have to put out your work and share it. And it's just, again, I think a lot of it comes from fear and judgment and, oh, what's someone going to think of this? Is this going to go viral? Am I going to get popular from this one, or who's going to fuck with this? It's like, you got to let go of all that and just
yeah,
chase down as many opportunities and projects as you can. And I think you do kind of, there's a notion of like, maybe as you're killing it and you get really big and years go by and you're sort of a professional in your space instead of at the beginning, maybe there's an element of um, taking the extra time and using the tools and the experience you've used to really dial in and get something to be special as you go through. But I personally don't see myself ever going that way. I can see how that would be a thing as you progress. I can still consider myself in the early days. And for those artists like your friends, the ones you were talking about, again, I've tutored so many people, and there is every justification on earth for not putting out a song. It's like, my artwork's not ready. I don't have a manager. I'll be better in 6 months. So I got to wait till I'm better in 6 months to do it. I got to get a full catalog of 50 songs before it's ready. It's like, you're going to just stay trapped. If you're using those as your excuses, you're going to stay trapped. You have to just start sharing them. You have to start putting them out. It's just essential if you want to grow. And, the difference between those people who did 100 pictures and one is 99 pictures of trial, success, failure, practice. That's the difference. It took 99 photos, but by the time those people who were doing the 100 got to the end, all of them were better than that other person's one picture.
yeah, yeah,
So that's
totally.
what it takes.
And I love what you just said about like the difference between someone who's like further along in their craft, or like, yeah, like they've been doing it for 10 years. Okay, maybe, they're not putting out a record every week anymore because
Yeah.
like that's not where they're at.
Yeah.
But I see this a lot even like in the personal development space, in the coaching space. These brand new coaches, or honestly just like brand creators in general, people who are creating an online brand and social media account, they're taking advice from people who have been in the game for over a decade and
Yeah.
like listening to like their advice.
Yeah.
But their advice isn't really for beginners. It's them sharing like what they're doing now. And I
Yeah.
have to like tell my clients like what they're doing is not necessarily what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
at the beginning, you just gotta like do it. And the funny thing is, I had no idea that you had 60 songs on your Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to them all.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have like my 10 that are like my gold.
Let's go.
But that's the thing. It's like the ones that like you're worried about like putting it out. Like, what if it doesn't go viral? No one even like sees that. They just see
Yeah.
the ones that do go viral. And I always struggled with this with TikTok, and I guess like Instagram as well. But TikTok is such a. Are you on TikTok? Do you create
Yeah.
on there?
Yeah, I am. I'm not, super consistent on there, but I have a page and I try to repost stuff as much as I can. So I'm definitely on it. But
Yeah. Instagram is that place, we were talking about like that genuine, like loyal community. I feel like Instagram is just a way better platform for that.
right.
TikTok, you can get more reach, but it's so up and down that it kind of like for me, it has like really fucked with my confidence because like something will do really well and then something will be like 200 views.
Yeah.
And so I like would always kind of like tie it to my worth and be like, well, this piece of content wasn't good. Like nobody likes it. Like nobody likes me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I would look at other creators. Obviously, they have like, I'm like here and they're here, but their content is still going like this too. They get the 10 million views and then they go down to like 100K views, 50K views, 100K views, 8 million. And
Right.
so
Right.
sometimes we only look at people's highlights and we're like, oh, but look at what they're doing. It's like, yeah, you don't see
Yeah.
the 59 songs that don't have 11 million streams and they're just comparing their one song to
Yeah,
your
to your
one song.
to that single best track. Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
the whole thing with social media in general. To be honest, TikTok, Instagram, they're all really the same thing. And they're this funhouse mirror of everyone's best, filtered photo and best song that they shared or the best picture that they got from their show. There were 300 photos taken at their show. Here's the one video that looked pretty good. So they posted that one. It's like, it's all, that's the whole thing. So I actually have kind of a different take on this than a lot of people in my industry, which is that, use it as much as you can, do everything you can to post on it. And it's just like, I think it's a giant red herring. It's like spend your time getting really good at making the art, and the truth is you got to play the games you want to play. Social media is a game that I am learning to play, and I think there's value in having a car and a delivery service for your music. I'm not saying that I think it's kind of impossible to not have that in today's world, but I'm playing the games I want to play, which right now means getting shows when I can get them and playing them with my friends because it's fun and making as many songs that I love as I can. And I play the social media game when I feel like I can and that it's fun for me. And I'm always learning how to make content in ways that's more fun and more authentic, like doing podcasts and doing things that are more, I think, valuable for people than a simple post. So I'm not saying you should never do it, but to your point, as what you said, you could feel that emotional, the comparison culture that's built into a lot of these apps. It's like there's nothing that destroys your mental health faster than watching what someone else is doing and being hyper focused on their success or their failures and comparing that back to you. So, I kind of have a different take, and I think you should play the games you want to play. Play the things and get good at the things you want to get good at. The rest will
Mhm.
come. You know.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It's like I always say just like follow what feels good because those are like your breadcrumbs to what's meant
Yeah.
for you, like whatever success you want. It's there's obviously going to be hard things to do and you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. And also, if you fucking hate something, it's probably not a stepping stone to what you really want
For
because what you
sure.
really want is something you love, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious to hear like what are some of the things, outside of social media or outside of, going to Icon, what are some of the things that you feel like has really contributed to your success, whether it's, personal development practices or spiritual practices, a mentor,
Yeah.
networking, like what else has contributed to your success?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, the one that immediately comes to mind is, I know you mentioned, doing different spiritual practices and coaching other people in different, different ways to reframe their mind. For me, meditation has been key. I'm been a meditator for many years now, and I do it every day, basically consistently. And it's a game changer because you learn very quickly that you're not the source of your own thoughts. You're not the source of your own, the self gets really gray liney and weird really fast, and to the point where it vanishes. And that's kind of a mini, making music or making a creative thing is a mini version of that, on its own, because what you're constantly doing when you're creating something is sort of saying, you're making it and you're in a state of flow, and then you're sort of stopping for a second, taking a second, saying, okay, what's this going to sound like with a critical ear? And you're sort of like always evaporating that line of self, I think, when you're making stuff to begin with. So there's definitely a tie between your ability to meditate, how you view yourself and how you view your attention, and your ability to create anything. So for me, meditation has been essential. And the truth is, the other part of this that no one wants to talk about is just blind, pure fucking luck. It's just so much of what we do day to day is just lucky. And I got so lucky to have the friends I have that listened to my trash songs for 10 years and told me that they were good even though they weren't, and to have the family that have helped support me and get me through the process. And even, things that I'm not in control of that I happen to have, like just an absolute passion and love for music, so much so that I've listened to it without, and I never get bored of it. I could listen to it every day at 6 a.m. in the morning, for 10 years. It's like, that's just luck. That's not because I trained some skill or because I did something to deserve that. That's just blind luck. So I think self-awareness and luck are a huge part of it. Having useful practices like meditation and your priorities straight on, like, there's this other piece that's like, so much, there's a stigma in music in a lot of creative places, but really in music, that's like, if you're not doing this 100% of your time all the time, you're never going to fucking make it. You got to sacrifice everything. And it's like, I cannot think of a dumber way to go about your life for anything. It's like
Yeah.
nothing comes for me. That priority list is like my friends, my family, and the people I care about are before anything. Music is just something that I get to do because I absolutely love it, and I'm so blessed and grateful that I get to do that every day as my career. But the truth is if I ever have a day where it's like, okay, I got to go to my best friend's birthday or like someone really close birthday, or I have this show I got to do, I'm taking the birthday every single time. I'm never going to make
Absolutely.
that career. It's like they've done studies. How many studies have to come out of people at the end of their life, and there's like, oh, I just wish I worked a little harder. It's like, that's never been the fucking answer. One time has that been the answer. It's always like the people I wish I spent more time with people I loved. I wish I was happier along the way doing it. It wasn't so caught up in my own bullshit, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I try to do it. I'm sure my career would benefit. There would be benefits to my career, no question. If some of the things we've already talked about, if I was like gung ho on socials, or if I was willing to make those trades all the time, I'm like, I got to go to this festival instead of my friend's thing. And it's like, there are moments when it's unavoidable. You can't pass up all of those. There are moments when you have to do it, and it's just, there's no way around it. But if there's any chance of it not being that, I go the other way. So all of those things, priorities in line, self-awareness, blind fucking luck, the people in your life, all of that really matters, I think, when you're doing any creative act. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, the piece around like prioritizing your life, it's like, well, okay, first of all, the reason I said like, are there any like spiritual practices? Because I didn't want to like straight up just be like, are you spiritual? And then if you weren't, be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
I knew that you were just because of like how tapped in I feel that you are and like the things that you share. And I just know that you're like tapped in, like I'm
Yeah.
tapped in because I resonate so much. Um,
I love that. I love hearing that. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so like I love that you're like speaking of meditation, and I think that the creation process overall is something that's like so intuitive that
Hmm.
if you're not tapped into like your intuition, or like you said, like your thoughts like aren't really you, and if you're able to um yeah, kind of like channel your creations and allow what wants to come through, I feel like you're going to be so much more successful.
Yeah.
And also prioritizing life itself, you can't truly create something incredible if you're not full of like, if you were sacrificing everything, not spending time with your friends and family, yeah, going gung ho on just like work, 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 work.
Yeah.
do you think that you would sit down and create the music that you do where you close your eyes and you're like feeling it and you're in a vibe? Probably not. You'd probably be like popping Adderall,
Yeah.
like
Of course.
burnt out, depressed, and just trying to like make something good, you know? And so I think
Yeah.
for me, that's always priority as well, because I actually don't think that I could show up. Like if I was burnt out right now, I wouldn't be able to show up to this conversation in the way that I am, or show up for my clients in the way that I do. It's just, I,
100%.
I think, yeah, putting yourself first is beneficial for all, for everything.
Yeah, and you just, and like you said, you wouldn't be able to perform or make the thing that you want to make, and you're not, it's there's a whole thing of like, and I did that. There were a few years in the beginning. It's like, again, maybe there's an argument for like 100% all the time, go, go, go. But in the really early phases, I mean, there were a few years there where I left music school and it's like, that's all I did. I was in a studio
Yeah.
or in my bedroom 10, 12 hours a day, just for like a year doing that. And it's like, there's something to be said for the progress that's made in those moments. I'm not saying that you don't progress faster and you don't get better, but I
Yeah.
think as
Just there's
I've
a
gotten
time and a
older,
place.
exactly. It's time and place, and what are you trading for that improvement? Because while that's really valuable in one mode, as you get older and as you, I think, start seeing things more, just taking a step back and seeing it from a broader place, it's like you said, it's not sustainable. You're going to end up in a place where you can't do that all the time, and you're acting at the detriment to your friends and family and your health and your, you know, all the things that make your life so interesting that let you create the art in the first place get thrown away, and then you just have shitty art and you feel shitty. So it's all about balance as you move through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what are like the big plans for Fetish? Like, do you have any, yeah, like projects coming up or big goals? I know you said you're kind of in a place where you're just like, just keep making dope tracks,
Yeah.
but do you have like a festival that's on like, kind of your manifesting list, or like what's coming up for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely long term goals like that. I mean, I saw some of my, shows at like Red Rocks. So like playing Red Rocks, a fetish show at Red Rocks is definitely on the list of like I
Die.
want that to happen so bad.
Yeah.
That's a special place in my heart. Same with like CrossFest here in California. When it first started, that was like a game changing festival. EDC, game changing festival. So there are certain like, again, these flagpole moments that are like, I would absolutely love to play major spots at these big festivals, but it's not really the ultimate end goal for me. But it's definitely gives you things to shoot for.
I'm just having this crazy memory. Sorry.
No,
Like,
you're
yes,
good.
I
You're
hear
good.
everything that you just said, but I'm
Yeah.
just remembering because you played on an art car at EDC like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was like on top of the art car going crazy. There was like no one there. It was like just me and my friend. We were going crazy on top of the art
Oh,
car
I love
because
that.
he
Yeah.
was the one that like introduced me to you, and we saw that you're going to be there. We were like freaking out. So when he said EDC, I was like, wait, I saw you at
Yeah.
EDC.
That happened. I was there. I was there.
That's happened. I was there.
Oh, I love
Oh,
that so much. That's awesome. I'm glad you got to see that one. I had a lot of fun playing those art car sets. It was great. It was
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
so fun. So
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, I would love to see you in like these bigger shows. I mean, you were just with Nostalgics a couple weeks ago, right? That looked like a epic show.
Awesome. So much fun. She's so cool, and she has not only such an amazing project, but just like the coolest person. And we've been friends for a few years now, hanging out at shows, and music is definitely, at least in similar places a lot of the time. So that was super fun to play that with her. That was here at Academy. That was super fun.
Fuck yeah. I love that. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, I have visions. Like I see like these huge, huge shows for you. And I feel like they're gonna happen.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I hope so. It's part of the fun. So I hope it happens. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, it's gonna happen. That's why I'm asking. Like I'm manifesting. It's gonna happen.
I love that.
Amazing. Was there anything else that you feel like we haven't like touched on that you feel like is like an important conversation that you want to share with my audience?
I'm trying to think what else is happening. I think I don't know really. I mean, I'm just trying to use like as much content and different forms of media in terms of podcasting and songs and clips, whatever I can use to basically try to just be the most myself I can be and get other people to do the same, because I think we're sort of coming up to this place where like the world is so needing that, and everyone is really craving connection and authenticity and intimacy. And we don't have to use the tools like social media and all the stuff we're using them as, music, everything else, in the way that we're currently using them. We can use them for better. And I think for better means something like being more authentic to what you are and sharing that so that you can bring up your friends and family and the people that you care about along the way. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I hope people like the songs while that's all going on. And I hope people like the shows when they're at the shows. I'm certainly having a blast doing it. So, that's all I can do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everything you've shared is like so similar to like what I want to share, but it's always really incredible like being able to hear it from someone else and
Yeah.
like get kind of like re-inspired. Like I feel like I'm re-inspired in a new way. Just yeah, watching someone be in their authenticity and feeling their passion and hearing their story. I do feel like it's so well, and also seeing a case study of it, like, working, Like, and really seeing, like, wow, this person has created massive success and is about to create even more success and is just on this rocket ship up as I see you, like and it's all from just being yourself and making cool stuff and, like
I certainly
and
hope that's the case. I think yet to be seen, but I hope that's the case. I really appreciate hearing that from you. It really means a
yeah,
lot. And yeah, I think, like you said, that's the only way to do it while you can have fun and being truthful to who you are is to do that on the way up
yeah,
and have it last, because that's what it takes,
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I think I speak for everyone when I feel like my audience is gonna be, like, just as inspired as I am
I
right
love
now to
that.
just,
I
like,
love
have
that. Well,
fun and yeah, and just do it. Like,
yeah,
literally just do it. So,
I feel the same about meeting you and having, a couple listens to your podcast have been really cool. And I hope that you keep getting just really awesome creative people to come join. That's awesome, Of
thank you. I appreciate it.
course.
Can you tell everyone, obviously, I'll put this stuff in, like, the show notes, but tell everyone, like, what you have going on, if you have any shows planned, um, in cities where people can maybe find you, and then also, like, where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, for sure. So on socials, it's just at It's Your Fetish on pretty much everything. And then shows wise, I'm playing, I don't know if there's anyone in Canada. I'm playing Canada August 9th. It's called Womp Festival, which is in like Alberta. And then I'm also playing, I just announced a show in Portland with Blossom on September 27th. So I'll be in Portland and Canada coming up in the next few months here and hopefully some more. So come out to those shows. That'd be fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. I know I have a lot of Canada friends and Portland friends too, so
Love it.
go
Get
check
them
me
out.
out.
Let's do it.
Cool, cool. Amazing. Well, I'm so grateful to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for, yeah, just sharing your light and your energy.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks
Um,
for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
yes, yes, of course. And everyone listening, thank you for being here. If you guys love this episode, please share it. Share it with a friend, family, coworker, or if you really loved it, share it on social media. Make sure you tag us if you do so we can check it out and say thank you for sharing and yeah, just connect with you. And yeah, I'm going to leave all his contact information in the show notes so that you can connect with Fetish. And I think that's everything. All right, guys. Have an incredible week, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.